Let's get it on!
Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ducross Brothers. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side is always my partner in crime, the one and only Sean Ducross. And boy, what a show we have on tap for you guys. But we got to talk about this, probably the fight that has kind of shaken up the very foundation of the boxing world. That happened over the weekend. That was Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. This is the second time that they have met, and much of the same. It made no difference. Tyson Fury did exactly what Tyson Fury said he was going to do. He was going to take basically the soul this time from Deontay Wilder, and he simply did that in the 7th round.
Not bad for a guy that has pillow hands, right?
Right?
I mean, everybody talk about, oh, he's got pillow hands. Apparently, he does not have pillow hands because he dropped him, he clipped him behind the right ear, busted his eardrum, sent him down to the mat, and basically that was all she wrote. Then he popped him in the ribs with a shot and knocked him down. It was just ridiculous the amount of work that Fury put in against Wilder that kind of shocked everybody about what was transpiring in that fight, because everybody said, oh, Wilder with that big right hand, aka what you call the Thor hammer. And it just did not take off. And then quickly after that, it's like, oh my God. He came in wearing a 40-pound outfit. It weighed down his legs. He was tired going in there. All I got to do is this. Boo. You didn't want to make an excuse, Wilder, but yet here we are.
That's all I hear lately.
Is excuse after excuse about why you lost the fight, okay? Eddie Hearn said it best. And we'll talk about why Eddie Hearn's involved in this a little bit later on. But Eddie Hearn said it best. We've seen 19 rounds between these two. And Deontay Wilder, has only won maybe about 3 of them. He's right. It's been all Tyson Fury. Outside of that one knockdown where he just resurrected himself back up, outside of that, there is really nothing else that stood out against for Wilder against Fury in the first matchup.
Absolutely.
I still thought that Tyson Fury, despite getting knocked down in that fight, still came back and won that fight. So it's so contrived that when you look at this, do you want to see a 3? Is a 3 even worthy of it? Because of the fact that he did get beat bad in the first one, and he got manhandled for the first 7 rounds before the knockout.
Right, and that's what we were talking about leading up to this fight, Sean. Remember, is that we were breaking down the possibility of a trilogy, remember? And the way that I was saying is that there had to be something in that fight that will make you say, yes, we need a third one, or no, we definitely don't need a third one, correct?
Correct.
And here I am right now after fight number 2, and I'm exactly where I thought I would be, the position that I'm currently in, and that is saying that no, I don't want to see a 3, because in the 12 rounds that Fury fought in the first round, John, in the first fight, he on all scorecards, he was winning that fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Wilder gets destroyed. Now my thinking is this, and we are a very, very different combat sports talk show compared to a lot of other shows. We are very transparent. We give you exactly our opinion. And the way that I see it is that the issue with Deontay Wilder, and I've said this all along, and I do not hide behind what I say. The fact is with Deontay Wilder is that he's a street fighter. There is no skill or technique in anything that he does.
True.
That's why I said he has the Thor hammer, right?
Yep.
Because he's a one-dimensional fighter. So at what point, as a one-dimensional fighter, if you can't start putting stuff together or thinking that you can out-muscle, out-fight a boxer, What makes you think you're going to do it? Because when you think about it, I'm going to show you a little bit of something. When you are dressed
Our boys over at Flipbook did this one. I had it
like this, and you're in a costume like this for 15 minutes and it's a 40-pound suit, bruh. I'm telling you something ain't right.
Right. There's just so much more to it that, like, when you come out and you're walking to the ring looking like that, like, you put more time and effort into your costume than you did into preparation. And I was talking about going into this fight, like, I thought Tyson Fury, being 273, was overweight. Wasn't even ready for the fight. Wasn't even taking the fight seriously. To me, it looked like Tyson Fury was just in it to collect a paycheck. Then during the preparations in the locker rooms,
Right, leading up to it.
and you've got Deontay Wilder doing his stretches, like, okay, over here.
In his underwear?
And he's stretching. And then you look in Tyson Fury's locker room, and Tyson Fury still got his slacks on. He's got a white shirt on. He's dancing. He's not stretching. At that moment, it's like, dude, this guy's
two
gonna get out of
vastly different fighters.
And you look at it on paper, like I told my buddy, was Tyson Fury's not even taking this thing seriously.
No.
Like, he's going to go out there and get knocked out in the first 2 rounds at this point. But
You
then
called
again,
it on the last show, Sean, that you said Tyson Fury in 7. It happened.
It did.
John Fury said that his son was going to go in there and knock out Deontay Wilder. But now the thing is that where does Deontay Wilder go from this? Because we're going to get a trilogy. We are. When, we're not entirely sure yet. Tyson Fury, what's next for Tyson Fury? It's rather kind of laid out now, almost as if it's like my shirt, black and white. There is 2 different avenues now for Tyson Fury, Sean.
Absolutely.
And the direction that he can go. The 2 direction is that of Anthony Joshua's out there. Or does he take the challenge and the opportunity for a big payday, go to Tampa, Florida, put on his Gypsy King outfit, ride down to that squared circle, and face Braun Strowman?
Oh, I just heard
Because
about
Braun Strowman challenged the Hazel, hey dude, let's run it back. How about we put some gold on the line and we run it back?
Or what was it? The other one I heard too was Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin is a
King Corbin.
Yeah, but Baron Corbin has a boxing background.
Yes, he does. Bare knuckle.
Well, that, and he was also
a
Golden Glove?
Yes.
so he actually has some type of boxing background. So they're talking about all these intricacies of which way Tyson Fury can go. I mean, the fact that Tyson Fury came out and was singing a song on a throne that many people would not associate with a guy like a Fury.
He's not the greatest singer, but I do love the effort.
What is it? What's his name? Hugh Jackman did the show, Greatest Show on Earth.
Yep.
That's where we're at with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury knows who he is, what he's capable of, and he's not here to sugarcoat it. You know, as I was looking into this, and I had it right here, like, let's do a rubber match. Let's run it back. But these 2 guys have eerie similarities between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Like, we're running it back to the point that when you look at those 2, McGregor and Diaz, we've been talking about another fight for a while. And here we are again talking about a Deontay Wilder and Fury number 3. And in this whole thing of of is this fight going to happen? Again, the similarities that you draw is Conor McGregor talked. Nate Diaz was a little bit more reserved, but he threw jabs.
A lot of people aren't talking about this, but leading up into this fight, you saw a very animated, a very boisterous Deontay Wilder, you know, about slinging mud at Tyson Fury during that press conference. When I saw that, I was like, well, there it is. There it is.
He just
Tyson Fury just got him because you took him completely out of his game.
There are some elements that when you talk as much junk as an individual does, there will be always something said that can rattle the cage of anybody. Whether you wanted to believe it or not, it will always happen. I see it every day that you could say something wrong and not mean it in a certain way, but somebody's going to take it out of context and get booty tickled by it.
So misconstrued, absolutely. But Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder is in the books. It ended pretty much what a lot of people thought it was going to be. A lot of excuses being thrown out there from Wilder's camp. And I love the fact that there's so much clickbait out there right now. It's ridiculous about, well, so-and-so said this. So-and-so's in his camp. All it is clickbait for you guys to just fall on the sword and deal with it.
It's because when you talk about this whole situation, you can't help but think that, you know what? This is an ongoing thing between these two.
100%.
So somebody is going to continue to keep this lurking out there in the media just so we do see a third one.
So
just so somebody keeps talking and so forth.
If we do get a third one, Sean.
Yep.
How do you see that fight ending? Much of the same that the 1 and the 2 should have?
Yeah.
Does Tyson
There's too much technique with Tyson Fury.
And Tyson Fury also, you brought up the weight a little while ago. I kind of want to just go back real quick on that. Is that Tyson Fury weighed in at 273, much bigger than before. Deontay Wilder weighed in much bigger than before. 20 pounds bigger than before. But the difference is that as a heavyweight, 273 versus 233. How the heck are you supposed to carry a 273-pound man on top of you for what seems like for the 7 rounds, Sean?
Yeah.
For the 7 rounds, Tyson Fury used a lot of that mass on top of his opponent.
And literally weighed on Wilder majority of the fight. Like, weighed on him. And I was just like, you know how much 273 pounds is on top of you if you utilize the weight structure proportionally, evenly across an individual? We've wrestled growing up as kids, and I've always said to you, like, when you used your body weight on top of me, it's like, oh my God, like, stop doing that. It's horrible. It's not the most comfortable thing. It's just like we talk about that when you get wrestlers in MMA and they take guys down. If they utilize the wrestling aspect well enough, and they use their weight to distribute again across the other fighter's body, it is uncomfortable.
Yes, it is.
You don't want to be there.
That's why I loved using my weight when I wrestled.
So it's just one of those things that strategically and plan-wise, Fury...
Oh, absolutely. Knocked it out of the ballpark.
And there's no point to me to run it back when Wilder's been beaten so decisively.
And clean. Because the only claim to fame from Deontay Wilder is the fact that he knocked him down twice in the first round. But the thing that I still remember is basically Tyson Fury rising up like the Undertaker, and the memes that shook the whole entire internet where he was literally, his soul was coming away from him and was going onto an airplane. That's the only thing that stood out about that fight that was about Wilder. Wilder did not deserve to win the first fight, and got knocked down in the 7th round in the second one. And his corner threw in the towel to save him. And I applaud his corner. Just because that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You have to save your fighter. I get Wilder wanted to go out on a shield. I get it. Because you're a fighter. You're a warrior. That's what you want to do. But busted eardrum, broken jaw, legs were not there, everything, all signs pointing against you, big fella. It is your job's corner. It is your corner's job to take the fighter's well-being. And at that point, punishment that he was taking for 7 rounds was horrible.
And the thing, too, is that you saw was the fact that you've seen the memes. You've seen everything else. And I was even saying this with my buddy, too, after the fight was, didn't it have an eerie familiarity to that of Drago versus Apollo?
Yeah.
Throw in the towel! And they're and Apollo's just getting obliterated in the corner.
I should so look for that video, but I'll probably get copyright for that.
Right. So it just had eerie similarities of watching that beat down in the corner. But we're going to go ahead and go into a break, and then we'll get to the 2 latest news of Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje. Not even real? Or the fact that...
Is it real or is it just clickbait?
Or the fact that Henry Cejudo versus Jose Aldo is finally announced. Why? Here are our thoughts here after the break.
Legend status. That's all I got to say about that. Legend status. More with the brothers right after this. We are the New Cross Brothers Sports Warriors right here on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. Also, you can now catch us on Fight, so download the app. We're the New Cross Brothers, Sean and Tristan New Cross. Opinion Combat Sports Talk Show the way that it should be, open and transparent. Real talk, real topics. What's up, everybody? We are the New Cross Brothers, Sean and Tristan New Cross. Go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel, smash that like button, hit that bell icon, and in the meantime, you can also click just right over here, over my shoulder. You can click that QR code, use the code DoCrossBros, and save 10% on anything related to CBD. Above that is ESPN Plus. Your boys are sponsored with ESPN Plus, so go to our Facebook page, click the pin post at the top, and get a free month. Subscribe to us on iTunes, which is above my brother's head over here. You can do that too. Dude, we're like everywhere right now, so it's cool to be back in the running. And
it's cool to be on Fight TV, Fight.tv. So if you don't want to check us out on YouTube, you don't want to check us out on Facebook
or Twitter,
you can be on the go now
and get us.
Simply watch us on Fight.tv by typing in the Sports Warriors.
Incredible. So thank you for us to joining the Fight family. Appreciate it. So support us over there as well. Go ahead.
Also, we didn't get a chance on our last week's show to say this, but everybody that has supported us through this tough time, we want to say thank you. It just means a lot for everybody that's been out there that has supported us and everything in this tough time.
See if I could get that.
So we thank you. I don't think we got a chance to say thank you last week. So I just wanted to say thank you, guys. So
love you, Mom.
The biggest thing right now that's been circulating, it seems like Justin Gaethje is really good at pushing buttons on social media. Sound familiar? For a guy who we've seen that in person, he does look like a little bit of a nerd, but in the cage, it's a completely different animal.
He's an awesome dude to talk to, though. Awesome dude to talk to. I remember meeting him at Pachanga wearing the glasses, and I happened to look over, and he was getting a cup of coffee. I was like, whoa. Hey, what's up, dude?
But it was reported by Ariel Helwani that they're in discussions for a Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje battle set for the summer.
It's weird because that story started from TMZ, and now it kind of grew legs into this world.
Well, because of the fact that Justin Gaethje has been talking mad junk since day one to Conor McGregor, wanting to get that payday. My dilemma here with this is the fact that people are all, hey, you know what? This fight is perfectly made. It's a match made in heaven. We just heard that about Donald Cerrone. That stylistic matchup-wise, it was a perfect bout for Conor McGregor to come back to.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. really no different. A stand-up banger, a little bit more skill technique, but again, you talk about the accolades that Donald Cerrone got or has, and then you switch the coin and look at the accolades that Justin Gaethje has, and you're like, almost the same. I do like Justin Gaethje a little bit better. I mean, fans that watch our show know we're big supporters and big believers in the ability that Justin Gaethje has. So if this fight is to happen, best believe
There's a possibility.
I am still going to go against Conor McGregor, and I'm going to go Justin Gaethje. But isn't it ironic, too, that when you talk about Donald Cerrone, it comes full circle that Justin Gaethje's last win came across against Donald Cerrone? Conor McGregor's last win came against Donald Cerrone?
And Justin Gaethje keeps saying that Conor keeps taking easy fights. Please show me where an easy fight has been. I'm still trying to figure that out, bro. Where's the easy fight? Because he destroyed Donald Cerrone with shoulder checks in 40 seconds? Bro, that's fight game. That happens. But I call this a bunch of clickbait and then a bunch of people trying to talk and get traffic and try to drive it because his manager says there's been very little talk, little movement on Justin Gaethje and Conor McGregor.
But Tristan,
because Justin Gaethje's on the hook as the number one contender, honestly believes that Justin Gaethje's next in line against a Khabib or a Tony Ferguson, and only then would they re-entertain the thought against Conor McGregor, is for the simple reason that Conor McGregor is the person that goes in. If Tony Ferguson and Khabib fight again falls off the face of the planet and does not happen, Conor McGregor gets the title shot. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So, Justin Gaethje, there's too many situations that I have dug into, followed up, and none of them consist of him versus Conor McGregor. And why I say that is because you have the title fight that's coming up. You have Dan Hooker who calls him out after the Auckland fight. So, again, too many different avenues and pages, Sean, that point to other options than Conor McGregor. I don't see Conor McGregor getting a fight against Gaethje unless it's for a title shot. And it's if Khabib and Tony Ferguson falls apart at the 10 o'clock hour for the 500th time. Conor McGregor is going to get a title shot, period. There's not a thing you can do about it. There's not a single thing that people are watching us right now that can do about it. Money pays the bills. You get a title shot if you bring in the cash flow. Oh, wait. That's right. Because there's another guy that all of a sudden will jump right into a title fight. And his name is Jose Aldo. You don't tell me money doesn't rule. Rankings don't mean anything.
But see, when you talk about money doesn't rule, if you think money doesn't rule, this is our prime example because of the fact that, yeah, many people thought Jose Aldo won that fight.
That first fight, yeah.
I disagreed, and Moraes won that fight. But when you look at why Aldo got this fight, is because they already had the notion that Henry Cejudo's next fight was going to be in Brazil. So you have to have a good person that can draw in Brazil.
It's not Sterling. It's not Peter Yan.
So who better than
the legend
of Jose Aldo.
Who can sell the pay-per-view? Who can sell this fight? Henry Cejudo chose Jose Aldo. Why? Because he looked at the financials. He looked at where the fight was going to be. He looked at what could possibly make him the most money. None of those guys in the top 5 are going to make more than what he's going to make against Jose Aldo.
And that's the thing.
So I simply say that it's the legend status that got Jose Aldo the title
And
shot.
the fact that Jose Aldo is going to bring in the money in Brazil and help Henry Cejudo get paid more than what he probably would have gotten for fighting a Sterling or a Moraes in Brazil.
Jose Aldo in Brazil against Henry Cejudo is like the Carnival of Brazil.
Pretty much.
That's what's going to happen.
And pretty much Jose Aldo, because of his legend status, because of his name, the fact that he was the longest reigning ever featherweight champion.
Yes, Jose Aldo gets a title shot to the people that are talking to my brother right now.
Do I agree with it? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't. I absolutely disagree with the fact that how he gets a title shot and how going 0-2 in your last 2 fights warrants you a title shot.
But you're talking about money. You're talking about getting paid.
You're talking about the legend status and where it's at.
Also, how much you want to bet, too, that Jose Aldo didn't necessarily get this fight. How much of it was the fact that Henry Cejudo was pushing for that fight?
Exactly.
He started pushing for that fight after Aldo lost his fight against Moraes. He started pushing and poking the bear. So he was already pushing it. Then it didn't help the fact, too, that Dana White already said, yeah, Jose Aldo won that fight despite
And
losing.
you do realize, Sean, that we are in 2020, right?
I agree. He doesn't deserve it.
The era of social media.
It's powerful.
Absolutely.
It's a deadly thing.
It's a deadly sword, and you can fall on your sword and die. I kid you not. And the reason for that is because when you look at these, like I said right here, if you read right here, are the UFC rankings a joke? The people that are talking to us right now, you simply understand, you have simply answered your own question. UFC rankings are a joke. It is no longer about you being in the top 5. It's about what can you do. And I say what can you do because in 2020 in the social media era, what is your platform?
Well, it's the same thing, Tristan. Again, we've said
If you can't talk,
we've said the similarities between what the UFC does and what wrestling does, and it goes hand in hand with the fact that
Bellator's doing it a little bit better now, getting their fighters out there to say, hey, you need to be on Twitter, you need to be on Instagram.
And the thing is that when you look at the transition, okay, of where we're at right now, Tristan, and that is, in order to be a top level guy in wrestling,
Top of the food chain.
you got to be able to draw a pop. You have to be able to go ahead and sell yourself. And if you don't, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not going to really reach that top level. And I heard it yesterday. Prime example.
Are you going to say what I think you're going to
Was
say?
Kevin Owens.
No,
Kevin
I
Owens-
wasn't going that route.
Well, Kevin Owens,
I
he
got another
talks a
one.
big game.
Yes.
He talks a big game. He could be a top level guy, but now he's right now settled in the mid card. So you look at all that stuff like that.
Vince McMahon, grab the brass ring. Okay, give me 3 steps.
That's what
I
we're
heard that.
dealing with here.
Yeah.
Is that if you look at the level, is that can Moraes sell Brazil? Can Sterling sell Brazil? Can Peter Yan sell Brazil?
WWE's going to Saudi, Sean. WWE's going to Saudi, which is Saudi's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Basically, the SmackDown Super Showdown, whatever you want to call it. You can't sell a card if nobody is over. And if you follow wrestling, you'll understand that terminology about being over. Goldberg's coming back to face the Fiend. Goldberg. You know, the guy that busts his head open, the guy that damn near almost killed me twice every time when he gives me a hug. That boy squeezes so darn hard. Please, if you ever meet the guy, he's about this tall, bigger than me, gives me a hug, and I swear he's going to crack every single rib in my chest. But he's a draw. There is something about him that the minute you...
It doesn't matter about storylines. It doesn't matter. It matters about what's going to sell to those people. And that's where we're at right now and why Jose Aldo got this thing. And to answer the question is, why are there rankings? I've been wondering why there's been rankings for the last 5 years.
I've been wondering why we continuously go away from the rankings. Rankings to me don't mean anything because it has failed in so many ways. In what like, I want to say, probably in the last 2 years.
It's just like AEW is trying to bring that back to ranking system in wrestling.
Why?
And I don't even understand the ranking system in wrestling. Like you win, you lose. You win, you lose. You win, you lose.
Wins and losses matter. No, they don't.
They do within context.
In a hypothetical situation, yes. In a hypothetical situation, rankings matter when you and I are talking or the fans are talking, the casuals are talking. Rankings go, well, this guy's top 5. He should be facing this guy.
To me, the rankings are for the individual fan that needs help establishing who's at the top of the food chain.
Yep.
Not necessarily
understanding what the game is now.
Yes. So
and the game now...
For the people like us, for the people from our boys at Fightbook, everybody else in the media game that we know, we don't associate nor care about rankings. It means nothing.
Because we now know that in the last 2 years, I'm sorry, but the rankings are a joke. They are. Because it ain't about being a top 5. It's about, hey, can you put butts in the seats? Can you make money? Can you sell a fight card? Can you fill the seats? Because we need to line our pockets. That's the reality, folks.
What can you do for me?
What can you do for the business, the company that you sign a contract with? That's what it comes down to. No more does it count against, are you a top 5 guy? No, doesn't matter. And yes, go fight for the BMF title.
And yes, that's what, and Tristan made that shot a couple weeks ago. So it was mentioned that said, so I could go and get the next title shot if I just go ham on social media and just talk and chunk.
100%.
Yeah. Essentially, if you're a top guy in the top 10 and you can talk and sell yourself, your money all day. All day. You just got to be able to sell yourself. And if you don't sell yourself, then unfortunately...
This is what people think of you. Social media.
But if you can talk a game, sell yourself, then I'll give you this. But if you can't sell yourself, you're going to get nothing but this. Sorry. Don't know what to tell you.
It's the reality of the fight game. The fight game that we used to know 10 years ago?
Do I really have to dig up the pay-per-view draw buy rates that I did about a year and a half ago? Do I really need to dig that up and show you how ridiculous?
Do you still have that?
I think I just saw it the other day and I was like, ooh, that would actually be pretty good to pull up. And show you where your potential big stars are and the lack of money that they do typically draw.
Dude, if you could get me that, I will try to put that on the show right now, but before we are end of time, so people can understand about what we are talking about. Because, dude, nobody seems to understand about what is going on in the fight game. Like, you see the bare minimal, the basics, the numbers. There's such a broader spectrum as to why certain people get certain favoritisms. It's not just in the fight game, freak. It's even in the combat sports talk world too. It is basically, are you there to suck up, have a good time, or actually do your job? Or do what is expected of you? We will always be transparent. We'll always give you the the 100% underlining thought of what we are thinking of what's going on in the combat sports world, whether you like it or you don't. It's a very finical world that we live in, and that is reality. Look at the politics that is going on right now on TV. Says it all right there. That's what it says. Ooh. My brother, hold on. Yep. I'm going to go try to grab it real quick. I can't believe you just found it. See if I can grab it real quick.
Right? This is something that I did about, I think, a year ago.
Something like that.
And I had fun doing this because it kind of, it plays hand in hand with people thinking that when they were complaining about Brock Lesnar coming back and making the money that he does, or the
why
Conor
would Brock
McGregor.
Lesnar do that? What does he have to do, or what does he have to prove? Blah blah blah. Like, because this guy was a money draw, folks, a money draw. And I'm trying to get this real quick because it's something that at the time we did it, it was ahead of people's curve. And when people saw it, they couldn't freaking believe that what my brother put together, because it blew their mind. So you're just going to give me a second. Sean's going to have to try to stall real quick because I'm trying to pull it up. And then once I get it up, I'll immediately shoot it onto our show. And you guys will see exactly what the heck we're talking about.
And I think you got all the slides. I think I just sent you all the slides. I think you're good.
Okay.
Or at least for the most part. I think I may have doubled up one or two.
Yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, 2.
Okay. But yeah, so that's where we're at with the Henry Cejudo versus Aldo fight. I mean, I'll touch on a little bit here while he's trying to figure this stuff out. Is the fact that you got UFC on ESPN plus 27. It's like, I swear, 26 just happened last week. And here we are again, all over again on this one. And when I was looking at it, I was like, man, this is another block card. Okay? And the only notable thing that stands out to me that I remotely care about is the fact that you got Joseph Benavidez versus Davidson Figueiredo. And that's for the vacant 125 bantamweight title. Little crazy to think that Henry Cejudo doesn't have the bantamweight title anymore. And the fact that matter is that he has relinquished that title. And you're talking about this being the main event. These guys are finishers. Both of them are finishers. So you look at them and go, okay, well, Figueiredo, he's the winner of the last two since suffering his first loss in the UFC.
Do you like the fact that the flyweight vacant title is on the line for Joseph Benavidez so that he can possibly claim a title?
Because of the fact that Benavidez has had 33 professional fights. My goodness. And he's a finisher. Benavidez finishes his opponent at a high rate, just like Figueiredo. Figueiredo has 14 finishes, 8 knockouts, 6 submissions. This thing's not going to go to the end.
No.
Because Benavidez has the nickname of Jiu-Jitsu. So you're looking at the top. Man, this is going to be fire. And the fact is that this will be, what's interesting too, is the fact that Joseph Benavidez no longer fights at Team Alpha Male.
Nope.
But Figueiredo does. So Davidson basically took Benavidez' spot and has ran off victories at a high rate. The other notable on this fight card to me, outside of the co-main event, that I was just like, really? Yeah. But the other one is the fact that you've got Megan Anderson versus Norma Dumont. And I was looking at this and I was like, really? Megan Anderson basically gets to be a tune-me-up fight.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Norma Dumont is only 4-0, hasn't fought since 2018. Seriously? Seriously, that's where we're at. Like, all right. I just see it a good pick-me-up and a good fight for Megan Anderson to continue to get her feet wet. So we'll see how this one plays out. But I think Tristan may be ready to go here in a second.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm just going to put up the screenshots. Let's see if I can get this full shot. So look, this is the first screenshot that's coming over.
So this first one is of Conor McGregor's buy rates. So you're looking at Conor McGregor's buy rates, and it's really something to think about, that when you're looking at what he's accomplished at the next level against Diaz in one, he did a 1.3 mil. Then against Diaz, he did a 1.6. Against Alvarez, he did a 1.3. And Aldo did a 1.2. These are not the numbers of recent, of what he has done coming back against Habib or against Donald Cerrone. Eventually, I'll get those numbers and then we can redo this whole clip. So this was just to show why Conor McGregor still comes back at a tall level, no matter if he loses or not, is because of money figures, money draws.
Look, the next one that I'm sending over as well is the current UFC champion pay-per-view buy rates.
Well, was because this included Robert Whittaker, Demetrius Johnson, Max Holloway. At this time, they were all three current champions in the UFC. But Robert Whittaker, who was thought after as a highly touted guy that could draw, only drew 250,000 and 130,000. Max Holloway only drew 200,000 at the highest. Again, these are not where we're at now. These were about a year ago. And these were their champions that people were saying, oh, we're going to draw, we're going to draw. They never drew. They never did. Demetrius Johnson, who's in ONE FC now. He never drew for the UFC.
But is now a draw in one because of who he is and his character status.
A little bit. So you talk about figures. Figures means everything. Rankings don't mean anything. This just continues to further my opinion. Brock Lesnar, why was he coming back to the UFC? Why was there even discussions about him versus Daniel Cormier? Well, look at his money draws. 1.1, 1 mil against Carwin, Velasquez, and Couture. Why would he come back against Daniel Cormier? Because look at Daniel Cormier's numbers. Daniel Cormier, at the time, again, when I did all this, only drew at a high of 400,000 buys. So that was the highest draw. Sam Miocic drew 400,000 buys because of Daniel Cormier. These, again, were all your champions at the time that I did all this.
So when you look at, well, should rankings matter? Unfortunately, They tried it. It failed.
And now here we are wondering why Jose Aldo is competing against Henry Cejudo in Brazil.
Facts.
Because he's going to draw for Brazil. It's always been about money. And if you can draw money, win, lose, or draw, you're going to get your opportunity at a title shot. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's just the way that the business works. So I just showed you evidence.
It's literally right in front of you.
As to why this fight has transpired.
And why we believe the UFC rankings are simply that as of is a joke. And because it doesn't matter if you're top 5. It really doesn't.
And because of the fact that Henry Cejudo and Jose Aldo fight discussion took about most of the show, about the intricacies of why this fight transpired, we'll talk about next week the fact that Ryan Garcia has his definitive date against Jorge Linares. And then you also got Anthony Joshua's fight is set against Kubrat Pulev. So we'll talk about that next week. But other than that, you guys have a good time trying to suck that all in.
Well, one little quick shout out I want to get to though is because he's fighting on UFC ESPN plus 27. I got it going across the ticker because I have to. The Alpha Ginger, Spike Carlisle. Dude, we have been covering him through the San Diego rankings, and on a short notice, he's filling in to take on Aldo Cruz. I feel so sorry for Cruz. I really do. You thought you had an easy fight against Steven Peterson. Now you're going to look right across from you, and you're going to see the Alpha Ginger. I'm sorry, but this ain't going to be a good fight for you. And I feel very bad that your debut is going to be a rough one because of the man, Spike Carlisle, standing right in front of you. So go about it, Spike. Short notice. Do exactly what the city of San Diego knows that you can do. Because, man, you've been tearing up 8-1. Finally, you get your shot on UFC. Go about your business, man. Kill it. From the Dude Cross Brothers, we're the Sports Warriors. Until next time, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that bell icon. Hit the heart icon. Hit the thumbs down. I don't care. Like us, dislike us. Show us your love, your respect. Until next time, we're the Dude Cross Brothers. Tristan, Sean Dude Cross.
Let's get it on! Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.